Top 10 of some of the most beautiful royal jewelry. Queen Victoria Eugenie of Battenberg, known as Queen Ina, was one of the most beautiful but also the most unhappy queens of Spain. The granddaughter of Queen Victoria of England, she brought hemophilia to the Spanish Bourbon dynasty, a mother who lost two sons, a wife who suffered from her husband's infidelities and neglect due to sick heirs, and finally, a queen without a throne who spent most of her life in exile. All these trials made her a legendary figure. Victoria Eugenie was born in 1887 at Balmoral Castle and was named after her grandmother, Queen Victoria, and her godmother, the French Empress Eugenie. Since childhood, surrounded by the luxury of royal castles and the splendor of unique jewelry, she fell in love with jewelry from an early age. Aquamarines held a special place in her heart. Queen Ina believed that these stones perfectly match her blonde hair, marble skin, and blue eyes. The casket of the great-grandmother of King Philip VI of Spain was regularly replenished with jewelry with aquamarines. The first tiara in the Queen's collection was created by the Anserina Jewelry House in Madrid. The crown was given to her by her husband, King Alfonso XIII, in the 1910s. Initially, the tiara was decorated with teardrop-shaped pearls, but soon the Queen replaced them with pear-shaped Brazilian aquamarines. For the updated version of the tiara, jewelers have added several Art Deco jewelry made of diamonds and aquamarines. A sautoir necklace with a large aquamarine pendant, a bracelet, earrings, a brooch, and a ring. In 1935, Queen Ina presented an aquamarine set to her daughter, Infanta Beatrice, in honor of her wedding to Italian aristocrat Alessandro Torlonia, Prince di Civitella Cesi. However, the fragile air loops of the crown could not withstand the weight of the large aquamarines, and the base of the decoration became shaky. At Beatrice's request, Bulgari jewelers created a new frame for aquamarine drops, decorated with a pattern of intertwined circles. The design of the crown resembled the Vladimir tiara from the British Royal Collection, and as with the jewelry of other heiresses of Queen Victoria, it could be worn without pendants. Infanta Beatrice often used the tiara at special events. For example, in May 1962, she shone in this crown at the wedding of her nephew, Prince Juan Carlos of Asturias, and Princess Sofia of Greece and Denmark. 5 years later, Beatrice donned the tiara again at the ball preceding the wedding of her niece, Infanta Pilar, and Luis Gomez Acebo. This time, the crown was complemented by a necklace sautoir with aquamarines. On June 26, 1965, Infanta Beatrice lent a tiara to her daughter Olympia at her wedding to Paul Annick Weiler. After Beatrice's death in 2002, her aquamarine collection passed to her two daughters, Alessandra and Olympia. Olympia Torlonia di Civitella Cesi wore the tiara twice, at the wedding of Prince Frederick of Denmark in 2004 and during an official dinner in 2015. Olympia's sister, Donna Sandra Torlonia, Countess of Leque de Asaba, appeared in public wearing an aquamarine necklace on May 21, 2004, the day before the wedding of her nephew, Prince Philip of Asturias. The most famous owner of these jewels in recent years has been Olympia's daughter, Princess Sibylla of Luxembourg. In October 2012, she flashed her great-grandmother's aquamarines at the wedding celebration of her nephew, Grand Duke Guillaume. Recreated jewelry, the story of Alexandra Feodorovna's Siberian aquamarine brooch and its current location, Empress Alexandra Feodorovna, wife of Nicholas II, was famous for her modesty, closeness, and rejection of secular entertainment. However, she had a deep passion for jewelry that originated in her youth, when she was known as Princess Alice of Hesse. Early jewels, Princess Alice's family often gave her jewelry, and she did not remain indifferent. The future Emperor Nicholas II also showed attention to her, giving her the first brooch, a silver one with diamonds, when Alice was only 12 years old. Embarrassed, she returned the gift, But this event marked the beginning of their romantic relationship, which soon turned into marriage. A wedding present. One of the most significant gifts was an order for a brooch with a huge 114-carat Siberian aquamarine from Carl Fabergé. The order was placed on August 10, 1894, 3 months before their wedding. Aquamarine, considered a symbol of love and fidelity, perfectly suited her sentimental nature. Jewellery parure. Later, a whole jewellery range was created for Alexandra Feodorovna, a tiara, a necklace and earrings, also with aquamarines. For a long time, it was believed that all these ornaments were lost after the revolution. However, in 2014, a tiara appeared at a closed auction at Christie's. As of 2020, it is in the collection of the Albion Art Jewelry Institute under the direction of Kazumi Arikawa. The fate of the brooch Alexandra Feodorovna kept the aquamarine brooch in the Alexander Palace among the jewels for a rainy day. During the arrest of the royal family, some valuables were hidden in their clothes. There is an assumption that the brooch could have been on her even when she was imprisoned in the Ipatievsky house, but it is more likely that it was hidden and not used. After the execution of the Romanovs, the Bolsheviks seized the jewels and sent them to Moscow. The brooch was among 154 items confiscated from the family and was sold abroad. Today, the original jewellery is in the London Wartski Gallery, a modern replica for the 130th anniversary of the wedding of Nicholas II and Alexandra Feodorovna in 2024. Russian jewellers created a replica brooch. The replica is almost identical to the original, including a 114-carat aquamarine and 672 diamonds. However, unlike the platinum original, the replica is made in white gold and can transform into a pendant. It is now kept in the Gokran of Russia. Queen Maxima appeared at the reception wearing a rare antique tiara. On May 12, 2025, a gala dinner for the diplomatic corps was held in Amsterdam, organised by the Dutch royal family. Queen Maxima once again demonstrated her impeccable taste, but this time it was not the dress that attracted attention, but her headdress. King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima are known for their contribution to strengthening relations with the diplomatic corps, and the invitation to the dinner on May 12th was aimed at developing cooperation and sharing experiences. As the hostess of the evening, Queen Maxima shone in an elegant pink dress by designer Jan Tammenjaus. This outfit, which had already adorned her in 2010, once again became the central element of her image. Maxima's dress resembles a coat with a long hem and a light bottom layer. The neck is decorated with decorative stones that turn into a star at the waist, and the sleeves are complemented with exquisite details. The Queen chose diamond drop earrings with a large pearl and complemented the look with an antique pearl tiara. This tiara, created in 1900, is one of the oldest in the royal collection. It consists of 7 vertical pear-shaped pearls on a diamond setting, with the largest pearl occupying the centerpiece. According to the court jeweler, the pearls are about 400 years old, and they belong to Amalia of Orange, née Soames-Braunfels, whose name is 21-year-old Princess Amalia. The tiara is a family heirloom, and it is only worn on special occasions. Previously, Queen Maxima wore it at the wedding of Crown Prince Haakon and Mette Marit in 2001 without pearls, on her official portrait in honor of her 40th birthday in 2011, and at a reception with the President of China in 2014. Unfortunately, Princess Amalia has not yet had the opportunity to try on this unique tiara. The phrase "grandma's chips" can evoke warm associations in us. A cozy evening in the kitchen, fried potatoes, a caring grandmother. However, for the royal family of Great Britain, this expression has a completely different and much more brilliant meaning. It became the playful nickname for one of the most valuable pieces of jewellery in history, the stunning brooch that belonged to Queen Elizabeth II. At first glance, the expression Granny's chips can be translated literally as Grandma's chips. In British English, chips means French fries, and perhaps there is some irony in this. However, in reality, there is a hidden pun here. Chips is not an appetizer, but fragments, from the English chips as parts split off from the whole. We are talking about two magnificent diamonds that were included in the brooch and received this affectionate nickname from Elizabeth II herself. The Queen inherited these diamonds, Cullinan III and Cullinan IV, from her grandmother Queen Mary, and only occasionally wore a brooch during her 70 years of rule. Despite the colossal value, estimated at more than £50 million, the decoration for Elizabeth was primarily sentimental. From the depths of the earth to the heights of power, the history of these precious stones goes back to the depths of time, literally. Geologists believe that diamonds were formed more than 1 billion years ago at a depth of 400 to 650 kilometers below the Earth's surface, long before the appearance of the first forms of life. Cullinan III and IV were split off from the largest gem-quality diamond ever found, the legendary Cullinan. This giant weighed 3,106 carats, over 621 grams, and was discovered in South Africa in 1905. It was named after Sir Thomas Cullinan, the owner of the mine. It was later presented to King Edward VII as a symbol of reconciliation after the Anglo-Boer War. The diamond that conquered the crown. The jewelers who worked with Cullinan faced almost mystical difficulties. The first attempt at cutting ended with broken tools, and the headmaster, Joseph Asher, was rumoured to have fainted when he finally cracked the diamond. The work lasted 18 months, and as a result, 9 large and many small diamonds were obtained from the stone. Empress Eugenie, who once bought the jewels of Marie Antoinette and Josephine, is now forced to sell her gold bracelets. Her fate has changed dramatically. She was no longer the Empress of France, but her bond with the last executed queen remained especially strong. Marie Antoinette probably also thought about her jewelry, the sparkling stones and diamonds that adorned her neck, ears, and hairstyle. Her only fault was that she was beautiful and young. Having agreed to marry Louis Napoleon Bonaparte, Eugenie de Montijo succumbed to the persuasions of her persistent fiancé and her family. His name, ambition, and passionate drive left her no chance. She tried to play with him, distancing herself from herself, refused to become his mistress, but could not refuse the offer to become the wife of first the president and then the emperor. Eugenia, with the appearance of a goddess and delicate taste, was famous for her elegance. The best tailors made dresses for her, and Charlesworth especially stood out. However, family life did not go well. Having received a beautiful woman as his wife, Louis Napoleon continued his travels through the gay houses of Europe. Eugenie could only cherish their only son, Napoleon IV. Her passion was jewelry. She was especially interested in those that belonged to Queen Marie Antoinette and Empress Josephine. Today we will talk about the coral tiara that belonged to Empress Eugenie. It was put up for auction by Bentley & Skinner for £75,000, a well-known auction house that serves King Charles III when he is looking for gifts for Camilla. The special feature of this tiara is that Bentley & Skinner took detailed photos of it in a Spartan style. Before that, it could only be seen in old photographs without detail. In 1856, photographs were taken of Empress Eugenie wearing this tiara. These pictures were supposed to help the artist Tom Couture create a canvas depicting the baptism of the emperor's son, Louis Napoleon and Eugenie. The painting was never completed, but the photographic portraits were preserved. I found a rare portrait of Empress Eugenie, which was probably made from these photographs. The tiara depicted in the portrait has minor differences. The corals have been replaced by pearls. Such transformer jewelry has always been in fashion. Eugenia chose a gold tiara in antique style with large cabochon-cut corals for the painting. It looks simple, but upon closer inspection, the fine engraving and splendor of the stones are visible. The tiara was named Spartan because of the patterns inspired by the excavations of the city of Sparta. After the September Revolution of 1870, when Napoleon III was stripped of the title of Emperor of France, his wife Eugenie was appointed regent. However, after the death of their son Louis Napoleon, she was forced to go into exile to a villa in Nice. Eugenia took all her jewelry with her and was forced to sell them in order to maintain her usual lifestyle. The coral tiara probably suffered the same fate. It was sold at the beginning of the 20th century, and its new owner preferred to remain anonymous. Now this jewel is looking for a new owner. When Heirloom Jewelry walked down the aisle at her wedding to Prince Nikolaos of Greece, the son of King Constantine and Queen Anna Maria, she fulfilled an important tradition of the Greek royal family by wearing the antique corsage tiara. This pearl and diamond tiara, created by Queen Anne-Marie and dating back to the time of Frederick the Great in Prussia, has become a symbol of approval for the brides of Greek princes. Creasy, the daughter of a shipping magnate, looked gorgeous in this piece of jewelry at a ceremony at St. Nicholas Regavus Church, the oldest in Athens. Combined with a lace dress by Christos Kostarelos, she looked like the perfect princess. The tiara from Queen Anne-Marie perfectly emphasized her entry into the House of Glucksburg. Prince Nikolaos, known as the Playboy Prince after partying with Jemima Khan and Elle Macpherson, divorced Princess Tatiana in April 2024 after 14 years of marriage. The couple claimed that they broke up by mutual consent, but soon there were rumors about his relationship with Creasy. In September, the couple was spotted together at Princess Tatiana's wedding, and on January 22nd, their relationship was officially confirmed. 2 weeks later, on February 7th, the upcoming wedding was announced. Nina Flor, the daughter of Swiss billionaire and creative director of the Fabergé house, recently married Prince Philippos, Prince Nikolaos' younger brother, in 2021. She became part of the royal family and continued the tradition of wearing the antique corsage tiara, started by Crown Princess Marie Chantal at her wedding to Crown Prince Pavlos in 1995. The history of the antique corsage tiara begins with a corsage brooch given to Princess Louise of Prussia around 1913. After the death of the princess, the brooch passed to Queen Victoria of Sweden and then to the future Queen Ingrid of Denmark. Ingrid wore the tiara only to the most important events, such as the gala performance in honor of the 80th birthday of King Gustav V and the state visit to Great Britain in 1951. The tiara was redesigned in 1964 for Princess Anna Maria, the future Queen of Greece, in honor of her 18th birthday and her wedding to King Constantine. Queen Anne-Marie often lent the tiara to her relatives. Princess Alexia wore it only once, at a banquet in honor of Spain's visit to the UK in 1986. Crown Princess Marie Chantal used the tiara at her wedding in 1995 and at many other events, until she chose the Miller fringe tiara in 1997. Princess Theodora, the daughter of Queen Anne-Marie, especially cherishes the family heirloom. She has worn the tiara to many special occasions, from Crown Prince Frederick's wedding to Mary Donaldson in 2004 to Queen Margretha's Jubilee banquet in 2012. Princess Tatiana wore the antique corsage tiara at her wedding to Prince Nikolaos in 2010 and continued to use it at significant events, such as the wedding of Princess Madeleine of Sweden in 2013 and the 80th birthday of King Harold and Queen Sonja in 2017. The forgotten relic of the Romanovs, which rings Maria Feodorovna and Alexander III received at their betrothal. Maria Feodorovna, the mother of the last Russian Emperor Nicholas II, was considered one of the most enviable brides in Europe in her youth. First of all, due to her origin, she was the daughter of King Christian IX of Denmark and bore the title of Princess Dagmar of Denmark. It wasn't just the royal blood that made Dagmar an attractive match. Together with her sisters Alexandra and Tyra, she was distinguished by her beauty, refined facial features and slender figure, which was the result of the athletic lifestyle adopted in their family. Simplicity and charm. The popularity of the Danish princesses was also facilitated by their upbringing. Despite their high status, Dagmar and her sisters were accustomed to work from an early age. They cleaned the rooms themselves, set the table, and were not spoiled by luxury. This made them unlike most arrogant European aristocrats. Their simplicity, benevolence, and lively disposition only increased the interest of European princes in them. Dagmar's older sister, Princess Alexandra, married the British Prince Edward, later King Edward VII. Despite the difficult nature of her husband and his many hobbies, Alexandra maintained dignity and calmness in her marriage, for which she enjoyed great respect and love of the people. Princess Dagmar was initially betrothed to the heir to the Russian throne, Tsarevich Nikolai Alexandrovich. However, after his premature death, by the decision of Emperor Alexander II, her next son, Alexander Alexandrovich, the future Alexander III, became her fiancé. At first, Alexander was not eager to marry his brother's fiancée. His heart was occupied by Princess Meshcherskaya. However, his duty to his family and country got the better of his feelings, and he travelled to Denmark to propose to Dagmar. At first, the young people felt awkward, but soon they found mutual understanding and became close. The engagement of Alexander and Dagmar was accompanied by the use of a special ring, which had a symbolic meaning for the Romanov dynasty. This ring was believed to have been first used during the betrothal of Emperor Paul I to Maria Feodorovna, and then passed down from generation to generation as a symbol of continuity. Later, Empress Maria Feodorovna, wife of Paul I, ordered a new wedding ring for the wedding of her son Nicholas I, with instructions to pass it on to the family of the heirs to the throne. And so it happened. The ring passed from one bride to another, each time becoming part of an important historical event. The ring intended for the groom was distinguished by a more restrained design. A diamond weighing about 9 carats and worth 5,700 rubles was inserted into Alexander III's ring, according to estimates at the time. It is assumed that this ring was originally intended for the late Nikolai Alexandrovich, Dagmar's first fiancé. Thus, Alexander III inherited not only the title of Tsarevich and the future empress, but also his brother's ring. Alas, the Romanov wedding ring has not been preserved to this day. It is unknown whether Nicholas II gave this ring to his bride, Princess Alice of Hesse, the future Alexandra Feodorovna. It is only known that Maria Feodorovna treated her coldly and perhaps did not support the tradition. According to one version, the relic was lost during the revolution. According to another, it could have been disassembled into jewelry or melted down. The description of the ring, however, has been preserved. It contained a 15¼ carat tapeworm and was valued at 18,600 rubles, a huge sum at the time. Nicholas II remained faithful to his wife Alexandra Feodorovna all his life, and, according to contemporaries, wore a wedding ring even on the fateful night of the execution of the royal family in Yekaterinburg in 1918. Perhaps this ring is the last link with a long-standing dynastic tradition that passed away with the last emperor of Russia.